Well, that's just great. You hear that, Ed? Bears. Now you're putting the whole station in jeopardy. Welcome in to the Bro 4 Squad podcast, where we are just a bunch of bros drinking beer and watching movies. This is episode 164, and I'm your host, the Mayor, Jeff Hornacek. Thank you guys so much for joining us for the movie discussion tonight. A fun episode in store, but before we can get to it, as is tradition, we must go around and meet the fellow bros joining me. First, we go into the lab to the mad scientist, Brian Banner. Now, Banner, I've been told you received a urine sample from Dwayne Johnson that's currently in the lab to be tested by you to make sure he's not on steroids to play Black Adam. Can you tell us what you found?
I cannot confirm nor deny that I may or may not have a sample of an individual who may or may not be nicknamed The Rock. His pee is in my fridge. He is, in fact, on steroids.
What's the beverage you have tonight? Is that like a lemonade or?
No, this is Peach Crown.
So it's not Dwayne Johnson's urine.
Oh, no, that was gone a long time ago. It was delicious.
It might be like the Austin Powers thing where it's right by the shit.
Yeah.
Not really sure what he's drinking.
Basil.
This coffee tastes like shit.
Then it's not just me.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Next, we go to the American hero, Nate Thurman. Nate, fuck one, marry one, kill one. Morgan Freeman, Harrison Ford, Michael Caine.
Wow.
Ooh, that is a tough one. Put me on the spot here. I've got to kill one of those guys?
Sorry.
Jeez.
And you only get to fuck one of them, which might even
I know. I'm gonna marry Morgan Freeman. I just want him to wake me up in the morning with his beautiful velvety voice.
Come on, Nate.
My cocaine, he's near death anyway. I'm sorry. I love him, but we're gonna have to kill him and then fuck Harrison Ford because he's kind of psycho, so I know he's gonna be crazy in the sack.
That's true.
Yeah.
Definitely don't want to marry Harrison Ford. I think we can all agree.
No.
I was kind of hoping that you were going to kill Morgan Freeman, so then we can make the joke. Oh, so you're going to kill God?
Oh, that would have been funny.
I thought you were going to a different place because the only black one of the group.
He killed the Brit. Either way, you're fucked.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lose.
You're going to offend somebody.
Yeah, but
there's no way
as an American, we've killed a lot of Brits, so it's fine.
Lastly, we go in the paint tour enforcer, Matt Geiger. Geiger, as a DC fan, I want you to know that in the new trailer for The Batman, when Robert Pattinson savagely beats the shit out of some henchmen, it reminds me of that time you freaked out on that one dude in the GNC parking lot because he bought the last jug of your favorite protein powder. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I'm. If it was a court of law, I would say I don't recollect. But yeah, I remember every fucking second of it.
I actually feel like
Really
you
cool.
underreacted.
It's true. I mean, I was a lot chiller back then. I only tried to stab his throat with scissors a la Michael Irvin.
How come we don't have like Black Friday fights at a GNC when like people can't get their creatine because someone else bought the last one?
There probably is, but it's just not as fun as like two Karens fighting in the mall over like a sandwich or the last Furby doll.
God, I love America.
It's the best.
All right, well, on the Bro 4 Squad podcast, we get every pod started with the most important thing in any bro's life, and that is chest day. And our chest day topic today involves 2021 as it's in its last quarter. As you're listening to this, it's probably early November, I would guess. And on the podcast this year, we've watched a lot of shit. So nothing fancy today, but I thought we would all go around and give you all, the listeners, some recommendations for things we've watched, either movies, TV, or maybe one of both, that we've enjoyed, and share the wealth with you. So these might be things that I don't want to say weren't mainstream, because they're probably things you've for sure heard of, but anything that we've seen this year that if we said, hey, there's something you need to check out before the clock turns to 2022 that we saw and thought was fucking awesome, this is it and why. So these are all probably things that have been in our protein shake at some point, and I would keep these titles in mind for the Broskers in early February of next year, because a lot of them might be included there as well. So I don't know if you guys have one of TV and movies. I have one of both, but if you don't, that's fine. So let's, Nate Thurman, let's start with you. I actually get a lot of my recommendations from you, and I think at least one of the things I'm going to mention tonight, you told me to go watch. So what have you seen thus far in 2021 that if I was someone with limited time left in the year, you'd be like, you got to check this out?
I'm going a little off script here. Now, I did watch this year. It didn't come out this year. And I would probably say that 90% of the people listening, maybe even higher than that, have not seen this. But it is an older film from 1964. Got it on a bit of a kick of this over the past year. But My Fair Lady. I know people are going to scoff at the beginning. But I actually enjoyed this one, and I got down a rabbit hole of researching this too, so that was kind of interesting. But a 1964 film adaptation.
Research something? Wow, that's
oh yeah, I know, crazy. 1964 adaptation of the play based on George Bernard Shaw's Pygmalion from 1913. Which George Bernard Shaw, if you look into him, he's pretty radical, crazy guy from back in the day. With some crazy ideas on society, if you ever get down that rabbit hole. But this is actually, this is over the top. Audrey Hepburn has a huge Cockney accent. She is selling flowers in like this courtyard in England, and then this rich uppity guy tries to bring her in, teach her proper English. So as you can see, there's a lot of sexist and misogyny in this movie.
Yeah.
And like I said, characters are over the top. It's kind of that period, but I probably found humor in it where there wasn't supposed to be humor in it, but overall it was pretty good watch.
Is this on HBO Max? I know they have a lot of the classics.
Honestly, can't remember where I found this. Just got on the old Fire Stick and typed it in.
Netflix. It's on Netflix.
And it popped up. There we go. I couldn't remember where I watched it. But
won 8 Oscars.
Yeah, but like I said, I thought it was a really good film. I really enjoyed it. And like I said, I probably laughed at things that weren't meant to be funny in 1964 when it was made, but it's pretty telling of the times, like seeing like what they're making jokes about. Like I said, a lot of misogynistic jokes and sexist jokes, but been on a big Audrey Hepburn kick lately with the wife watching some of these older films.
What is the movie? Geiger, is it She's All That, where Freddie Prinze Jr. makes the bet to turn the girl?
Paul Walker.
That's a great comparison. Yes,
well,
that's what he's trying to do here.
I'm reading the synopsis, and She's All That is just a remake of My Fair Lady, because here is the synopsis for My Fair Lady. Snobbish phonetics professor Henry Wiggins agrees to a wager that he can make a flower girl, Eliza Doolittle, presentable in high society. So this is like the adult 1964 version of She's All That.
Yep. Her dad is a drunk who just goes to the bar with his buddies and gets drunk and then sings a funny song about it. And then ultimately gets money from having her go to this guy to get her in high society.
That's sex.
Spoilers.
Thurman, if you're good on a kick of old school movies, you need to check out the original Ocean's 11, check out Love Me Tender and Viva Las Vegas Elvis, and then Rebel with a Cause James Dean is a really good one too.
I'm on it.
I love the original Ocean's 11.
The original Ocean's 11 are cool because it's such an easy plot. Basically, like Sammy Davis Jr. just needs to drive in the back whenever they're done stealing it because it was like before.
We're criminals, but we're not breaking that law.
Well, I mean, but the thing is, it's before Vegas casinos got, like crazy electronically and shit. Like basically they're just kind of robbing. It's almost like robbing a grocery store compared to what Ocean's 11, the one with Pitt and Clooney and stuff is. It's really cool.
I'll add those to the list.
What we should do is 1 week a year we should make Retro Week where everyone has to watch something from like the 80s or before when they come on the pod.
The 60s are cool, man. They're really fun movies, a lot of them, I think.
Banner, can you make a note of that? We'll find a week to do Retro Week every year.
Yeah, totally.
You're not going to write it down.
That doesn't sound too promising.
It's like I don't know what he's writing down, but there's no way he's writing that down.
He's drawing boobs, I think.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
All right,
but yeah, that's my recommendation for the old school movie of the week.
I like it. I went with things from this year, but I like that you picked something just that you've seen.
Yeah.
Because it's our pod. We can do whatever the fuck we want.
Doesn't matter.
All right, Geiger. What do the people need to watch that you've seen?
Okay, so this trailer came out before COVID, and we used to talk about trailers a lot, but then it got boring. But this trailer really caught my attention. I'm like, damn, I want to see this fucking movie. On something, if you would have just told me the title, I would have been like, eh. And that's Judas and the Black Messiah, and it actually came out in 2021 on HBO Max. Okay, one thing I'm going to say, Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield, if they're like the new Pesci De Niro, that they're just going to do movies together, I'm fucking in.
Yeah.
They are fantastic in everything they're fucking in. But, Get Out, now they're in this. If they're just going to basically have them tag team, like, hey, you can't get one without the other when it's a big thing. I mean, wouldn't you love to see like Scorsese with these two fucking guys, or Tarantino or someone like that? This is a fantastic. Who's seen it? First off,
I have not, but based on your recommendation, it is on the Broskers.
Okay, I love seeing it because this.
And my guy Jesse Plemons is in it too.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I was about to talk Jesse Plemons too, who also I remember this kid from the first time I ever saw him was Like Mike. He was the friend of Bauer.
Oh shit, he is.
Like whenever he was in Friday Night Lights, I was like, dude, that's the kid from Like Mike, like the bully. And in Friday Night Lights, he's kind of a dork. And now everything he's in, which is weird, he can do comedy. He's almost like John Hamish. He can do fucking anything. And whenever he does it, he steals the show. But I'll have to say this about the movie. I'm not sure when it was going to come out. With COVID, everything got fucked up. But I don't think it's an Oscar nom. I don't think anyone's talking about it, which is weird. It should be. This is right up the Oscars alley. And the other thing is, I love when Hollywood does this. Like, whenever you leave it, I watched it at home, but I'm like, Black Panthers, they were just misunderstood. Even though, I mean, they weren't a good.
Are their methods kosher? Maybe not.
I mean, you could argue they were necessarily evil because it was a time where like the KKK was running wild and Jim Crow laws and all that shit. You could argue that, but a lot of them are really sympathetic figures, and they don't show a lot of the other stuff they actually kind of did. But just to kind of give you a background, so Lakeith Stanfield's character at the very beginning gets caught like stealing from a bar. So Plemons, who's a cop, of course, calls him in. Is like, hey, you can either go to jail, you go to undercover with me. Classic fucking story. But and I guess this is kind of a classic story too, but this is all a true story. But he goes undercover the Black Panther Party. Fred Hampton, who's Daniel Kaluuya's character, who you can read all about. I mean, he was the Black Panther Party. He was like, the head of it. And his son, who he has at the end of the show, actually runs it today, which is very interesting. They're still a Black Panther Party. They're a little different than what they, were. But so he's undercover, and he starts like listening to the rhetoric and be like, dude, you know what? They're making a fucking lot of sense. They're showing me a lot of this. And Plymouth says, listen, there is not a difference between them and the KKK. They just hate the other people. Just keep that in mind. Don't get blind to this. And Plymouth starts like catching on to this, and like Plymouth starts coming to some of the rallies because he's afraid like Lakeith might like not be able to handle it. It's a really fucking good movie. It's slow when it needs to be slow, and then it picks up in the third act. It's pretty long, but once again, man, there's just a lot of great acting, a lot of dialogue, and it makes you think. And anything about the 60s I'm in. I'm sure people will say 50 years from now, like our kids, like, man, if it's about 2020, I'm in, because it's just there's a lot of interesting shit going on right now. But the 60s, there's just so much interesting stuff. But I'd recommend seeing it. Martin Sheen's in it too. He's J. Edgar Hoover. But there's a lot of interesting stuff to this because, I mean, I don't know what you guys know, but other than Forrest Gump scene, I don't really know much about the Black Panther Party other than,
right,
they're predominantly black and they were kind of like the KKK of African Americans during the 60s. That's all I know about it. But I know way more about the KKK because of movies always dictating them than the Black Panther Party. But you learn a lot about it and how there's actually other black groups that were kind of for the same thing, kind of like think Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. They want to accomplish the same thing, but they're going about it different ways. But it's a very interesting film on HBO Max right now.
And yeah, I was going to say HBO Max. It was originally, was this like one of the first ones they dropped at the same time as its theatrical release, or was it one that was on there just like a few months after?
It was one of the first ones because I remember waiting to see it. Because I was, Me and my wife were going to go in theaters and see it when she was pregnant, and then it just, theaters shut down. They didn't, release it. And then once it was on HBO Max, I watched it. And I think it either dropped the week after it was in theaters or the same week.
I think one of the most interesting phenomenons to me is someone going undercover and then getting so. I mean, you see it like on a much lesser scale in like Point Break and Fast and Furious, but someone goes undercover and they get basically like swayed, like they get convinced that actually, the side that I'm supposed to be pretending to be on, I think I might actually be on.
Well, and so Lakeith Stanfield's character is kind of a drifter and was never part of anything. And the Black Panther Party, what's weird is he was undercover, but he starts moving up the ladder. So he's like Fred Hampton, Daniel Kaluuya's like right-hand man. He's like, dude, this is my fucking brother. And like, I've been lying to him since the beginning. And that's what Plymouth's kept. He's like, dude, if they catch you, what they did to that other guy, they're going to do it to you too. But it's a really well acted movie. Very well done. I was happy with it. Then I left. I'm like, man, Black Panthers are just misunderstood. And then if you read something else, now the ending scene, I don't want to give it away if you guys don't know, but it's also part of, I believe, a Netflix. I think it's Joseph Gordon-Levitt or someone has a show about it. But basically, how the cops raid the place. They don't knock, they don't do anything. It's kind of like today. It's what a lot of people are complaining about with. I'm sorry, I don't know. Like, it's either Breonna Taylor or Trayvon Martin. Whichever one was not a knock and he broke in, wherever that one was. It's kind of where like the Black Panther Party, this at the end of this movie was kind of where that all started. I don't want to give too much away though, but
nice.
Yeah, I have to give that one a shot. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, definitely interested in that. All right, Banner just took his shirt off, so he's ready to. He's not fucking.
I guess he's ready to drop his knowledge.
All right.
All right, Brian. The high expectations for this.
All right, so I came up with a couple of movies.
You just made them up?
Yeah, obviously, right off the top.
Even more excited.
Yeah, we know when the shirt comes off, shit gets done. Okay?
Here we go.
Just some really fun watches, and these are not 2021 releases. These are just ones that I think you need to grab a six-pack and go watch. And first one is 47 meters down, uncaged.
Uncaged. That's
the second one. This is the second one. I've never seen the first one. I'll be honest with you.
I'm asking this. Yeah, I was going to say half jokingly because we always joke this about like porn sequels. If I haven't seen 47 meters down, will I be okay?
You will be fine.
Okay, as long as I know that.
The more important question is how many beers deep are you?
47.
Yes, we have to, right? I mean,
obviously.
I think it's a prereq.
Yeah.
And then
guys, it's a horrible movie. So much fun. I had a fucking blast watching it.
In a weird way, if you said it was good, I wouldn't want to watch it.
Well, and here's the other thing too. It was good. I watched it so fucking hungover in an airport after Jeff's wedding. So
nice.
If I enjoyed it in that setting, it's going to be a fun movie.
We have Sylvester Stallone's daughter, Jamie Foxx's daughter, and Mandy Moore in this.
Yeah.
And Kim Basinger's daughter. Holy shit.
Next, not going to talk too much on this one. Me and Jeff did a commentary on it. Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, guys. Such a fucking blast. If we're talking about movies you just need to go back and watch it. So good. In all the wrong reasons.
There's no way anyone will watch, and this is on HBO Max, but there's no way anyone will watch Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla and be like, yeah, I didn't really enjoy that.
It's impossible.
And now I'll talk about a movie that I truly think people need to check out, and it got a lot of bad publicity and a lot of bad press leading up to it just because it took so long for it to come out, and that's New Mutants. This movie was finished, complete in 2018, and it did not come out until 2020. It kept getting pushed back. They were going to do reshoots. They ended up not doing reshoots. Funny
thing is, I don't think this one had anything to do with COVID either. It was just
zero to do with COVID.
It's like, what did it have to do with?
Yeah, it was just like
Fox,
somebody at Fox didn't like it. Oh, we're gonna do reshoots. Then Disney was like, hey, we're gonna buy the world. So they bought 20th Century Fox. And then somebody at Disney was like, look, we just got to get out from underneath this. Just release it how it is. So they never ended up doing the reshoots. I fucking loved it. And maybe that's because I had such low expectations, A, being a Disney movie, an X-Men movie that Disney released, and it taking literally 5 years from its inception to actually come out, which is insane. It was really good. I think. Have any of you guys seen this?
Yes, I saw it.
No.
I haven't, but I love the top 2 build cast. It looks like so far, Maisie Williams and Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah,
so.
Anya Taylor-Joy does. Banner, I liked the movie, but her Russian accent is brutal.
Not good. Surprisingly, though, it's not the worst accent in the Foxverse.
X-Men history.
Yeah.
Well, Sophie Turner's like, am I doing it this scene or not? And they're like, you know what, Sophie, just whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
Dealer's choice.
It's up to you.
Jean Grey is British now.
And now she's from the South. And, is that a Maine accent I'm detecting?
Banner, I liked how this one really leaned into the horror element.
I did too, and we all know I'm not a huge fan of the horror genre.
You're just a fan of the horror genre.
Boom, roasted.
Obvious.
Continue.
And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It wasn't over the top, like jump scares in your face, but like there was some creepy, I'm a little freaked out here moments. It kind of like a toned down version of Shutter Island.
Yeah. The director, Josh Boone, it's weird because the only other movie he did before this related to Stuck in Love, but he did The Fault in Our Stars.
Which oh my God. That movie may make an appearance.
Nice.
On a top 100.
But for him to pull off the horror elements here, if you take out the last 15 minutes, it just works as like a straight horror film, really.
100%. Yeah. 100%.
Is it just straight stand-up comedy for the last 15?
Yeah, then they go to an open mic night, and Anya Taylor-Joy's character is like, so das is the deal with these food rations, eh?
And then she gets a German accent.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that was, but it's still better than her Russian accent.
That's awesome.
And last thing, we want a TV show also, so I got one for you. We all know I'm a big fan of cartoons. Maybe like we'll say cartoons that are.
Oh, don't take mine.
I don't think I will.
Okay.
But I might. I don't know. That are geared towards kids, but are extremely enjoyable for adults. That I pick Rebels. I do Bad Batch and Clone Wars into that, as well as this Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous.
You've been trying to sell me on this for a while.
Guys, the first season takes place while the first Jurassic World is taking place simultaneously. So if you watch Jurassic World and then you watch the first season of this, the timeline is the exact same. Then we jump ahead a couple of months. We get season 2 and season 3. Season 4 is going to drop December 3rd. So they're like 20-minute episodes. 8 per season, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. You can literally knock this out on a weekend night.
Netflix?
Yep.
It's one of those things you started, you were like, yeah, my daughter will like it. And then you notice she's actually never in the room when you watch it.
No. And I'm up at midnight when it drops.
So you're saying the first season is when Jurassic World is being built, or like the very original Jurassic Park?
Jurassic World. So
okay.
when the Indominus Rex, spoilers,
Gotcha. Okay.
escapes, this camp is going on at that time.
All right.
Geiger's just over here fucking laughing it up.
No,
like,
I went to a Jurassic World exhibit with my kid, and this one park attendant came up and was like, "Are you having fun?" I said, "Yeah, but something tells me all hell's gonna break loose here in about 10 minutes because I've seen all your movies." Like, of course it gets out. Funny. Like, geez, like the end is not like, oh, that was a fun time. What money well spent. I mean, the hot dogs were a little overpriced, but everyone had fun, and this is the end. Like, no, someone's gonna get out. People are gonna fucking die, and you gotta run for the hills.
I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop here.
But you got my money, so congrats.
All right,
I will
Jeff,
say,
what do you got for us?
All right, so I'm kind of all over the place here. I have a show, and then I have 2 movies from 2020, and then something that just came out that I think Geiger and I was unaware of until yesterday. Geiger and I need to watch ASAP. A lot of animated stuff here. The show is actually on Amazon Prime Video, and it is the superhero show with an incredible voice cast, Invincible, if you guys have heard of this.
Still need to watch that.
Heard good things.
Yeah,
Mainly from you.
It really surprised me, but J.K. Simmons, among many others, Mahershala Ali, I mean, there's like Seth Rogen is in it. There's like a bunch of famous people that you normally wouldn't expect to see on like an Amazon project like this. And when you're watching it, I just want everyone to know this. I won't spoil anything for you, but I had heard great things from a few people whose opinions I typically am in line with. I start watching it. The pilot episode of the premiere episode of season 1. It's fun, it's entertaining, but to me it seems like normal DC fare, which to where it's not DC, but it felt like a DC animated movie. I was like, why are people like going out of their way to recommend this? Like, it's good, but it just doesn't seem like something normally I would get proactively brought up to me. And then the last 30 seconds of the season 1 episode 1 happened, and my jaw was like on the floor. So if you watch it and you're like kind of meandering through episode 1, I promise that it gets fucking bonkers in like the last minute, and it pulls no punches because it's pretty graphic. So like, maybe don't have like the 4-year-old in the room with you. But
good thing Baby Banner's 3.5.
Yes, yeah, you're good. It's all good. One other one I'll just mention briefly. Nate and I talked about this a few episodes back. And the more I think about it and the more it sat with me, Nate, like, this has to win every Emmy next year. And that's The White Lotus on HBO.
Yeah, this one, I thought you might bring this one up, and it's one of those thinkers. You sit back, and I know we talked about this. I can't remember if I said it on pod. Like, leading up to it, I like the characters, the character development throughout the season. The plot was great. It's just the way it kind of wrapped up. It didn't tickle my balls the way I wanted it to. Yeah. I think I even talked about this. The creator was like, "Hey, I'm getting flack for this. I understand. It may rub some people the wrong way." But yeah, as I set more with it, I'd love to hear your thoughts now. It does kind of come around. I still think it's a pretty great show.
Yeah, I think of course, like almost like the very last shot of it frustrated me. But I think the way that it towed that line between like murder mystery and comedy, and it did both so perfectly. I'm just like, damn, dude, I can't remember many things like this that just execute these both so well. And incredible casting. I mean, Steve Zahn just blew me away. His son is incredible. Connie Britton is great. Like, and the hotel manager, I can't remember the name of the guy who played him, but that guy stole the show. But yeah,
not his name in real life, but Armand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last 5 minutes of it kind of leave you a little bit frustrated, but the more I think about it, like, none of these characters, I would expect anything different from them, I guess, if that makes sense.
So the way, and I don't think we spoiled much of this in any previous pods, but yeah, the last 5 minutes, the thing that might rub you the wrong way, it's kind of just a reflection on life, saying shit just happens, and sometimes this is how life goes, and you're in shitty situations, and it is what it is, which is kind of a funny theme to have in a TV show when most people are expecting like a resolution or something. They're just like, nope, this is life.
It's a little bit cynical, but I don't think at any point it's like wrong, you know?
No.
Which I guess, I don't know. It's kind of the show that we sort of needed. And to me, I guess the reason I loved it so much, just totally unexpected. Like, I thought I would like it, but this was one that like I think you and your wife recommended it to us like probably 3 weeks before it ended. Mm-hmm. And waiting a week for a new episode of this was brutal.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. There's always a cliffhanger and always a murder mystery aspect to it.
Yeah. All right, I had 2 more real quick. These are movies that actually came out in 2020, but I revisited them this year. They're both bad but good, and one I absolutely need Geiger to watch. The first one is Unhinged, which is the movie where Russell Crowe is fat and just road raging for 82 minutes, and it's absolutely fucking hilarious. I don't know if he's more fat or more angry the whole time. You tell me.
He's fallen so far.
I know. But I
Like
think
he was
that
like Oscar, like with whatever that fucking director's name was. I
Ridley
can't remember.
Scott, yeah.
Ridley Scott, yeah. Ridley Scott's kind of fallen too.
But Matt, I think you would love it because his character in the movie has like hit rock bottom, and I could just see Matt watching it like, well, yeah, I mean, this is just actually Russell Crowe.
Oh, this is a documentary of his
Jesus.
life.
Yeah, he's like, when's he gonna start acting? Because he's just beating the shit out of people at diners and being 60 pounds overweight.
I love the tagline for the on like the poster. He can happen to anyone.
Also, it's one of those movies where like the plot, there's like at least 3 things that happen where like I could see the director telling the script supervisor like, now how the fuck is he able to do this? And the script supervisor's like, dude, I don't know. Like, just write it in. Like, it's there. Let's
Just let it go. Let it go.
The other one I have, I actually think this is more in the vein of Thurmond and Banner, but Freaky, the movie that came out in 2020, the Blumhouse film where Vince Vaughn is actually the 17-year-old girl who he switches bodies with, and he's a serial killer.
I need to throw this one on some night. I keep avoiding it for some reason, but I know you said just throw it on. You'll laugh at it, and it's just kind of a thing you can sit there and joke through.
You're gonna be mad at yourself for how much you like it.
Probably. I know. I need to throw that on maybe this weekend.
And definite horror comedy, again, toes the line really well. Last one, Geiger, I don't know if you knew this. So Injustice, Gods Among Us, like where Superman goes crazy and fucking loses shit. DC made a really dark R-rated animated movie that came out like a month and a half ago.
Oh, sweet. On HBO
Pretty
Max.
fucking cool.
Yeah. Have you seen it?
I've seen half of it.
Okay.
I haven't finished it yet. I started a couple weeks ago.
Well, all the, like, I don't know who's voicing them. It's not like the main guys, but like the Joker's
No,
in it,
it's
Batman's
different.
in it, Superman's in it. And it looked, obviously it's rated R, so it looked really dark. So I'm going to have to go check this out at some point. I just saw on YouTube the trailer for it, and it looked like it's already out. So yeah, I hope this is on HBO Max because that's on my watch list coming up real soon. All right, anybody have anything else? We're ready to go to the protein shake.
I got one TV show since I thought we were doing the round robin.
Yeah.
All right, so we all like the 30 for 30, right?
Love them.
Obviously.
I don't like them anymore. This is why.
Okay.
Set you up there. I hope we all watch Vice. Vice is a fantastic fucking channel. I watch Dark Side of the Rings on there all the time, but now they're doing Dark Side of Football. So you know, like the Michael Vick 30 for 30, which is just like a puff piece. Like, yeah, he killed dogs, but come on, let's get over it. He learned his lesson. These from Dark Side of Football would like interview like the kingpin of like the dog fucking killer people. Like they'd interview one of the dogs that fought. Let me read you some of the ones they've done.
I'd love to hear that interview.
That's an incredible quote.
Thank you. They've done when the Cleveland Browns come back to the NFL and basically like the red tape with that. They've done one on the NFL dealing with like shifty team doctors, basically like passing drugs.
No, he's not
shit.
concussed or okay, yeah.
They've done one on the Oakland Raiders being the dirtiest team in football, where like Romanowski was just on there roided out of his mind, just talking about how
fingers and
he broke someone's face. They've done one on Bill Belichick. They've done one on Chad Johnson. Very interesting, where you get like the real story, not, you know, let's do a Michael Vick one or let's do one on the 85 Mets and have them tell you how they were the greatest team ever and stuff.
I'm assuming none of this, Matt, is sanctioned by the NFL because that would have me more interested. Okay, good.
None of it's sanctioned by the NFL. I mean, one of them is about shifty doctors. There's no way Goodell would fucking let that see the light of day.
Yeah, Goodell is pretty protective of the Shield, I gotta
but
say.
I know a lot. I mean, you guys aren't wrestling fans like I am, so a lot of the Dark Side of the Rings you won't be into. Like the ones like, you know, about Bret Hart or something like that, you guys might watch. But these ones are really fucking good. The Bill Belichick ones, so they have players from way back when you've never heard of, and they talk about the cheating and everything like that. They're not the Teddy Bruschies that still wear the banner and everything.
Right.
These are very interesting, and you guys would like them.
Guys that are like, oh, you'll pay me $2,500 for an interview? Yeah, I'll tell you whatever the fuck you want.
I'm broke. Cool. Do it.
Just write the script for me.
This is on Vice, you said?
Yeah. And it says it's on Hulu Premium also.
I think I get that.
All right.
Honestly, I've found a lot of them on YouTube in full.
Okay, sold.
That's where I
YouTube's
watched the Raiders one.
Okay, YouTube actually has like quite a bit of these documentaries that you can't find elsewhere.
Yeah.
I watched that Who Wants to Be a Millionaire Cheater documentary on YouTube.
Oh,
It's
nice.
really good. All right, anyone else have anything that you need to recommend before we move on?
All good.
All right, on to the second part of our show, our protein shake. We go around and talk about what's in our cup, also known as what have we watched lately. Let's go round robin. Banner, ball to you first, because skins get the ball first in protein shake.
Obvi. I'm just gonna talk about two things this week. First thing, are we doing round robin?
Yeah.
Is that what we're doing?
Snake draft.
And have you finished What If? Because I'd like to talk about that with you.
I have finished What If, and then I also, Nate, I believe you and me will have one. We watched the finale last night.
Yes, and I
Okay.
have like one episode of What If left.
Okay.
Spoilers.
That will be difficult, but I will do my best. I, as we all know, am still continuing through my MCU quest. Finished WandaVision as well as Falcon and the Winter Soldier since the last time we spoke. WandaVision, really strong middle of the series.
Yes.
Kind of drops off in the finale, and honestly, on a second watch, really hard to get back into those first kind of three episodes or so. But 4, 5, 6, 7, right through the middle, really, really strong. Kind of falls off a little bit at the end.
Does Ralph Boner piss you off more, less, or equal the second watch?
Oh, all of the above.
Wait,
Like I'm like, okay, I know it's coming. So like,
Nate's like,
okay,
no.
whatever. Just get over it. And I'm like, but
No,
it still
I
fucking
shouldn't have to
pisses
get
me
over
off.
it.
I know that brings me to my next one. Like, no, it still pisses me off. Like about the same, but then the more you think about it, the more you're like, this shouldn't be here at all.
I can't hate the Mandarin twist and let that go, you know?
I understand. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, however, on a first watch, I was like, this is fine. It gets us kind of a palate cleanser, gets us back into the MCU that we know and love. On a second watch, I would say it is 50% better. I enjoyed it more on a second watch than I did on the first watch.
I think we can say of the 3 Marvel shows on Disney Plus so far, and not counting What If, because we don't really know what it is yet, it's definitely by far the least ambitious, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, Loki and WandaVision are swings for the fences. They're like Mark Reynolds or Adam Dunn. Like, I'm not trying to go oppo.
No, home run. Okay, it's
Home
going to
run
be
or
a pull
strikeout.
home run or strikeout.
Correct. Yeah, it's an ugly swing because he's clearly selling out. 0-2, he's like, it might as well be 2-0.
Like pull your back swinging at a curveball away. Like, why are you trying to pull that?
Like, yeah, we really just need a ground out. We would have scored. Okay. I don't do ground outs, bruh.
I'm excited for Sam Wilson to be Captain America moving forward in the MCU.
I hate his suit, but yeah, I like everything else.
Yeah, his suit is so fucking terrible. The white, it's awful. The progression of him not wanting to take up that mantle and then him finally accepting it and taking up that mantle was really, really satisfying and rewarding on a second watch.
I think it was done well. I mean, it makes total sense. And we did reviews on all these, and I think his, like, how he gave up the shield because he thought it was the right thing to do, and then he saw how they just fucking gave it to some lunatic 5 seconds later. He's like, okay, well, they know you're going to do that.
And I know we shoved this down your throats when we did the reviews, but Wyatt Russell, my fucking God. Great villain.
He's really good in it.
He was so good, and I felt the exact same way as on the first watch. I was like, I don't really understand. Like, is he gonna be good? What's he doing? And then by the end, you're like, I get it. Wow, so good.
The whole analogy is like he plays the guy the whole time in high school who they're like, dude, if you get in one more fight, you're kicked off the football team. And the whole time he's like, fuck, I really want to play football, but also I really want to punch this guy in the face.
Also like fighting.
Yeah,
a lot.
Also, this guy's just hit on my girlfriend, so it's like, I'm not. He called me a bitch. That's not true.
That's all I have to say about it.
All right, Geiger, how about you?
So I guess I I kind of watch this, but more I listen to it. And being on a podcast, we gotta probably reference like the god of all podcasts. But some of you might have seen clips of this. But have you caught the Rogan Sanjay Gupta interview? Do you guys listen to Rogan?
I see like clips of them.
Yeah, I kind of pick and choose.
Okay, so no one listened to this because it's 3.5 hours long.
Well, all of his podcasts are like 2+ hours.
I mean, the one he did with the Undertaker. There's a lot of ones that I listen to. Then there's some that I have no clue who the hell they're even interviewing, so I won't listen. But this one is extremely interesting because, as Jeff said, he saw snippets of it, and I could probably guess the snippets he saw because everyone was like, "Man, they had a really serious confrontation." If anyone has 3.5 hours, which I know is a big ass, like this was a very, very well podcast, and like Gupta either gets a good or a bad rap depending on what newscast you watch. But I always say, like, man, we all have a boss. Like Banner's not going to show up tomorrow with his fucking shirt off. I don't think. But it was a very interesting conversation. They talked about, I guess, how Gupta, when he was first starting out, that he thought like weed was like terrible, but then he kind of looked into it and all the medical release it had and kind of changed his mind. And him and Rogan talked about that. They talked about the vaccine and everything like that. They both made really good points. The clips Jeff probably saw aren't the clips that I really took away from it. The one thing I took away from it is they're both, one was on one side, one was on the other. And at the end, they both said that they're both left leaning, which they couldn't fucking believe. And I'm like, man, the whole time you guys thought you were against each other, but you actually vote the same way, which I guess that doesn't even matter because they're both Americans. But if you guys have time, watch it, because I think a lot of times we watch news and it's always really fucking biased, or they're trying to put, like, it was a really intelligent conversation between both of them. And I wouldn't consider it tense at all. There was a tense time in it when he called out CNN for kind of lying about the drug he took, but that Gupta never did that. But other than that, it was a really cool fucking conversation where I like podcasts like that because it's 3 hours. So you can't just take like them for 2 minutes and try to like narrative on them on anything. But they talked about a lot of cool shit. And that's what I loved about Rogan. They talked about boxing for a while too. Like you never know. It's almost like this podcast. You never know what he's going to talk about whenever you get him on there.
Wait, Matt, so two adults sat down level-headed and actually had a conversation?
It was really cool, man. It was
Not
interesting.
Not interested.
It was like I hate that when I see it. There's a bunch of stuff. I listen to Rogan a lot. There's a bunch of stuff where they'll be like, he said this. I'm like, I listened to that whole thing. He was joking about that. Then they'll be like, him and Gupta had an exchange. I'm like, dude, Gupta, first he came in with a gift of bourbon, and then they opened it up halfway through and they're drinking together and laughing. And dude, at the
Rogan
end,
has the coolest fucking job in the world.
He fucking really does.
He really does.
And he actually is really intelligent when you listen to him, but he has on guests where like intermittent fasting. I never even thought about that till I listened to Rogan, and I don't listen to Joe Rogan. He had on Dr. Rhonda Patrick, and she was talking about all the benefits and stuff. I've been doing it for 3 years. I've never felt better. There's a lot of stuff he has on there, which is just really fucking cool, like kind of outside the box stuff. And if you've only listened to the clips, I challenge you to listen to the whole thing because it'll change your perspective on all of it. Because they left as friends and he invited him back and everything. It was really cool. And I hope to see more of it too. Like I would like to see a presidential debate with Joe Rogan, as high as that sounds. That'd be a really cool fucking thing.
You know what I want? I want Joe Rogan to mediate one.
That's what I'm saying. Like I want him to be the mediator.
God, that'd be awesome.
It would be like really fucking cool.
His podcast deal with Spotify was for like $80 million a year, I think.
Yeah, and I don't know what was up with YouTube. They kind of kicked him off, but he still has like clippets on there, just not the whole thing.
So he still has a YouTube channel, because I think Spotify, that's where I see his stuff. What he posts on his YouTube channel.
Yeah, because he can't.
He gets the double dip. He gets to post
on
Spotify, and then the next day he can put like. And really, Matt, to your point, it just drives people to the podcast. Like if I see a really interesting, because again, they choose what they want to post. If I see a really interesting 4-minute clip where it cuts off, I'm like, fuck, I kind of want to see the rest of this interview.
But yeah, man, I challenge everyone to listen to it, because if you listen to Fox, they'll be like, oh, he destroyed him. If you listen to CNN, they're like, oh, he lied. I'm like, dude, just listen to the whole fucking thing, because they're really cool. And you could tell Gupta had his guard down and was actually like, yeah, like that I don't really agree with, but I have to say it because mean, there's stuff that I don't agree with at work, but I'm not gonna fucking say it when I'm at work, dude. I mean, we all have a paycheck to get.
For real. That's good stuff. Is it my turn?
Your turn. You're up.
All right, let me get. I don't know. I've had a protein shake that's been overflowing for like 3 weeks, so let me just get a few of these out. I revisited. We don't talk about anime ever on this pod, but when I was a kid, I loved Dragon Ball Z, Digimon, and Pokemon. And now that I'm married, I don't give a fuck about impressing anyone. And my wife hates all anime anyway, so my courtship of her is not dependent on this. I rewatched Digimon the movie.
Why?
Had a lot of fun with it.
All right.
There's a Bare Naked Ladies song in it, guys. And yes, it's the only one any of us know.
Which one?
1 week.
Which Chumbawamba song? The one thing that I loved / hated about this, do you guys remember when we were kids and like anytime a cartoon show that got a movie treatment was released in theaters, the animation would just obviously be like insanely better and more competent, like Rugrats, Hey Arnold, Pokemon.
I can tell you that it's been, we'll say 25 years since we were that age. It has not changed. And I'm not even ashamed to say this, the new Paw Patrol movie just came out. The animation in the movie compared to the show is night and fucking day.
Yeah. And I don't know if it makes me happy. I'm like, dude, this looks fucking awesome. But then I'm also like, wow, you guys really mail it in on the show. Like, because I remember Digimon the show now looks like fucking South Park season 1 compared to the movie. But the movie's cool because it came out in the early 2000s, I think 2001, and the internet's like a brand new thing. And they use the internet in like really creative ways. Basically, like the two Digidestins, which are the kid that own the Digimons, are having this battle. And for the first time I can ever remember as a kid, there's like a live stream or a live chat happening. So the people are like talking shit about the Digimon as the fight's happening. And as a kid, I remember being like, that'll never be a thing. Now that's the only conversations a lot of us have.
Yeah.
Facebook Live, Instagram Live.
The way we do it.
People are like, I've actually not felt the touch of a woman in 7 years, but I've written some pretty scathing Yelp reviews. Another thing I watched, you guys might have seen this on Netflix because it was one of their originals that they really pumped up. Gunpowder Milkshake, starring Kieran Gillen from Guardians of the Galaxy. She plays Nebula. Kind of like a female-led John Wick. And I hate to say this, John Wick adjacent is almost becoming a genre now, right?
Yeah.
Like movies where it's like, oh, revenge movie, this one person has these skills they don't want to use. And there's like this weird underground society where they get their weapons and they kick the shit out of everyone. That's Gunpowder Milkshake. I liked it a lot. Matt, you would really like the score. There's a lot of like good classic rock in this.
All right.
And there's one scene that's really cool where Kieran Gillen, again, with this stuff, I'm always looking for like, okay, what's a unique aesthetic you can give me? What's something I haven't seen before? There's a scene here where she has a weapon that she's hidden in a bowling alley and she has to go pick it up like before, one of the big shootouts. She gets ambushed in the bowling alley by some hitmen and they turn the lights off and they fight in the like glow bowling aesthetic. So it's like, like when you go glow bowling, basically, like it's like black light on the lanes and everything. That's where they're killing each other, which is kind of cool. I haven't seen that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Are they at a bowling alley?
Yeah, it's like literally inside of the bowling alley, and the lanes are lit up.
Tell me somebody picks up a pin and just whacks the fucking shit out of somebody.
Oh yeah, I mean they're using all the accoutrement from the bowling. They might even use the ball return to kill someone.
Ooh,
who knows?
Okay.
Yeah, because why wouldn't you? It was like I was getting a lot of Kingpin vibes there. The guy's like, didn't the guy's hand get fucking ripped off in one of those?
Oh yeah. They put it through there and rips off his hand.
That's how he gets the hook.
And
he's just the fake hand. That's right.
Just for attention. That's the only reason. Then one other thing I'll mention before I toss it back over to Banner. So Mandalorian, Geiger, you still haven't seen it, right?
No.
Okay. I know my other two bros have. So I don't know if you guys know this. They do a gallery, Disney gallery, the making of for each season. They did one for season 2, but Banner, you might have seen this, and Nate, I'm not sure if you watch either of these, but they did a specific making of just for the finale. because of
I have not seen this.
because of the character who returned. And I don't want to spoil anything if anyone out there hasn't seen it, but it's an absolutely legendary piece of storytelling, the season 2 finale. And if you're a Star Wars fan, I mean, you absolutely have to see it. I was basically crying when I watched it. But it's all over how they kept this character's return a secret. They interview the person who plays that character extensively. They talk about a different character that was written into all the scripts in place of this character. It was Plo Koon, a Jedi from Jedi Power Battles. And
Also
it's just
in
really,
Clone Wars.
oh yeah, which I'm almost done with season 2 of, by the way. But it's just really cool.
Yeah.
I think one thing I was more interested in this is the ways that Hollywood now has to hide their spoilers. Like the ways that they have to like basically veil characters and things like this showing up to keep it hidden. Like it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think I obviously do not remember this episode at all. I think I did start that because I remember them having like all the directors on, like Taika Waititi and Rodriguez and all of them on there, like a round table. So I think I've seen some of these. I need to go back and see some of the ones I haven't watched yet because that sounds amazing.
Yeah, so there's 3 of them total. There's one for the making of season 1. There's another one for the making of season 2, which I'll be honest, when I watched the making of season 2, I was like, what the fuck? This one sucks. They don't even talk about the finale. Then they dropped the one where it's just the making of the finale.
Nice.
So, okay, well, I'll go fuck myself. Sorry I got mad at you. But I highly recommend it. It's just so interesting to me, like all the intricacies that go into crafting a big, huge bombshell like that for something like Star Wars, where we know half the fan base wants to just kill each other for no reason at all. And then how you keep it secret. And again, when they interview the person who came back the whole time, they were like, I mean, we're not going to be able to keep this a secret, right? And Jon Favreau's like, I told them, I was like, well, we will find a way. We'll keep this hidden, like I promised.
Well done.
All right, Banner, back to you. What else you got?
All right. Do we want to talk What If or Only Murders in the Building?
Okay, so let's make a pact, because I want to watch Only Murders in the Building, and I haven't. I'm sure Nate wants to watch What If. Do we think we can do both of them spoiler-free? Or no?
I can do Only
Yeah,
Murders
I think so.
spoiler-free.
Yeah, I think so. I think we can do
Okay.
this.
All right. True.
I'll do my best. No promises.
That's scaring me, but okay. Nate's like, sure. Banner's like, I'm drunk.
It was a big whiskey.
All right, why don't you guys go? What do you want to do first, Banner? You're in charge here.
Let's do Only Murders first.
Okay.
So, Only Murders in the Building. This is a Hulu original. It's starring Selena Gomez, Martin Short, and Steve Martin. And
Nate knows I'm a Selena head for sure.
oh, me too.
Yeah.
Get in line. I was here first.
Okay, that's fine. I'll be second. It's okay. This is a story that basically there is a murder in the apartment building that they live in, and they decide to start a podcast, a true crime podcast about that murder. And off we go. Selena Gomez was fantastic. This is classic Steve Martin. Am I right, Nate?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like-
I mean, him and Martin Short back at it again. I mean, two powerhouses from the 80s and 90s. Yeah, they just play off each other so well. And their chippy attitudes back towards each other are hilarious.
I'm not a huge Martin Short fan. I'll be honest with you guys. He was my favorite character in this show.
Good. I'm glad he could turn you around.
Yes, he did. I love Oliver Putman. I think he is there's the most stakes, or what am I trying to say here? He has the most stake in this.
I don't think they cooked any steak at all.
Yeah.
In the whole show.
Geiger, what's the Martin Short movie you always talk about? Arthur?
Clifford. It's
Clifford.
fucking.
Clifford.
If no one's seen it, it's fucking hilarious.
Doesn't he have knee-high socks in that?
Jeff,
Swimmy,
you'd love it.
slappy,
Like,
swammy.
Everyone has to watch that movie. Is probably it's a top 90s comedy, honestly, that no one ever talks about. I think it's as funny as the first Ace Ventura.
Wow.
Wow.
All right.
It's high praise. Really good. I am not a huge true crime person, but my wife is, so naturally I've listened and I know a lot about them. If you've ever watched a Dateline, you will enjoy this. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I know Banner after the first episode was kind of turned off by it. He wasn't fully hooked, but then really got hooked after episode 2.
Episode 2, it hit me hard.
Yeah.
I wonder if I can watch it. I have Hulu, but it's for free through Spotify. I wonder if it's just premium. I'll have to look.
No, I think it should be on there for you.
Okay. It should be on there.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, really cool concept. Obviously, with podcasts becoming hugely popular and specifically crime podcasts becoming hugely popular, this was a cool premise for a show, and I think they pulled it off really well. The setting was really cool. Basically, I mean, there's scenes outside of the Arcadia, which is the apartment complex that they live in. I don't know if they say New York, but it's like New York, basically.
Yeah, they say.
No, it is New York. Yeah.
And How I Met Your Mother is season 6. Ted's girlfriend and him have a battle to save it. Is this in the same universe? I'll take that off.
Wow, I'm glad you said that.
Probably.
But yes, now that you said that, I think they say they go to Brooklyn, and
yeah,
it is in New York.
There's like a meeting in Jersey that they have to go to.
Yeah. But really well done, cool dynamic with people who you wouldn't think would really mesh well with each other.
I was just about to say the age gap and the generation gap between Martin Short and Steve Martin and Selena Gomez. I wouldn't think that would work.
A lot of good twists and turns too. It keeps you guessing.
It does.
I think as far as like a murder mystery, which I mean is basically it's the whole premise of the season. It does really well on that. You're guessing back and forth. Then the last 2 episodes, you really get some clues of who it is, and you start kind of piecing it together. And I think the way it was ultimately revealed and one of the characters confronts that person about it was done really well as well.
Yes, that was...
With no spoilers, but yeah, I think it was great.
And again, we have classic Steve Martin comedy, specifically in that last episode.
Yeah. A lot of physical comedy.
Yes, very, very good.
Yeah, and his face at one point cracked me up. You probably know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
Before you finish, if I put a gun to your head and said you have to describe it as either a mystery or a comedy, you can't do both. What is it?
Mystery. That happens to be funny.
Yeah, it's a dark comedy that leans more towards the comedy side, though. If it would be my explanation.
Leads more towards the comedy side or the mystery side?
If I'm just calling it a dark comedy, it's leaning more like comparing it to White Lotus, which is a dark comedy but leans kind of more towards the dark side. This is leaning more towards the comedy side.
Interesting. Okay. I would figure with 2 of the 3 main leads being comedians, that would be where it would end up falling.
There are some pretty serious moments, though, that really work.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And again, Selena Gomez was fantastic in this, I thought.
Yeah, she did really well.
It's next on my list for sure.
Yep.
All right, Geiger, what else?
I could talk about other stuff I watched, but I'll just talk about one more thing that I watched at Thurman's house so we can all fucking talk about it. The Batman trailer. Fuck, dude.
Let's go.
I said this before. DC makes the best trailers. I could even probably ask the Marvel and Fox fan, and I think they'll concur.
No, not even a debate.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even have to ask me.
The Suicide Squad trailer and both of them they look fucking good, but this one, god damn. So I'm gonna ask you guys, like, what was your initial thoughts, and then, okay, this looks like it's gonna be a good movie. It's gonna be dark, but where does it go from there? You think?
I guess I'll go first. Matt, I'm excited because I think Court of Owls is getting adapted here, which you and I have been wanting for a long time, which could lead inevitably to Red Hood. You know what's crazy? I was thinking about it. We've never gotten like a real Robin. You know? Character's never been done justice. So I'm wondering if
Chris
Matt
O'Donnell?
Reeves. Oh shit, forgot about him. I was hoping to say Burt Ward. Actually, that would have been Burt Ward. Heard of him? Read a fucking book. So I'm interested to see what he does with that, and I think I haven't even seen the last Planet of the Apes movie, but you guys spoke so highly of it that I trust Matt Reeves inherently. But I like that here. Batman is hard because there's so much you can do with him, but like I think people are scared to try something a little different. This doesn't look crazy different, but we have a young, very angry Bruce Wayne, which I don't think we've ever gotten. We got with Ben Affleck was like the old, I don't give it a fuck anymore. If some crack addict pops off to me, I'm just gonna kill him. But this is like Pattinson, like, yeah, the world, even though I'm rich, like hasn't done me any fucking favors. And if you're on crystal meth and you talk back to me, I might just punch you to death in the streets here because I haven't figured out what Batman is yet. To him, it's almost like a way to get his rage out. And there's a scene in it where he's like beating the shit out of some henchmen. And Zoe Kravitz is looking at him like, this dude is hot, but he is fucking insane. So I'm excited to see where it goes there. I just think it looks like the rare, unique take on Batman, and that has me excited. And the Riddler, like they haven't shown us anything of his face yet. Does he not look like almost, I don't want to say Heath Ledger performance, but like in terms of psychotic and cerebral threat, like my God, right?
It's almost like they're doing a Zodiac killer. I'm just wondering, like, are they just going to leave Batman alone and do 3 movies? Or are they going to try to get, there's been rumors Michael B. Jordan might be Superman. Are they going to try to do the new Justice? Like, what the fuck? Banner, what'd you think of it?
I mean, it looks great. I think I'm always excited to see a new superhero movie, especially a DC one, just because I always feel like there's that potential for it to be great. And I don't want to miss it.
It's definitely
Fair
like,
enough.
Yeah,
Well, we're all cool with Pattinson.
I have to say this movie,
Yeah.
and I
I'm
don't know
fine
if
with
it's
that.
still even remotely this movie, but like on paper, it shouldn't look this fucking awesome because this was the one where Affleck was in charge. Then he said he wasn't going to direct. Then he said he wasn't going to act in it anymore. Then they said, even though we're recasting him, we're not really recasting him because it's not even in the same universe. Then the Joker movie came out and they said, yeah, this actually isn't even in that universe. And then people were like, what the fuck is this? Then the trailer came out and everyone was like, all right, I'll shut up because that just looks really good. So I guess at this point, DC is like, look, we can't connect them. We're just going to try and make the best movie we
Just
can.
make
and
a good movie.
yeah, I just kind of have to respect that. Don't do what
I'm fine
Marvel
with
does.
that.
Just make. Nate, what do you think?
I mean, kind of just echoing what everyone else is saying and seeing Colin Farrell as the Penguin is going to be fucking awesome. I think. I love Jeffrey Wright too. Whenever I saw he was going to be Commissioner Gordon, I thought that was a really really well casted role there. Loved him from Westworld and some other things, but I mean, yeah, the trailer was great. People are praising Pattinson for nailing the Batman voice, which is funny as that sound. I think he did. I think he nailed it. It's not too rough, but it's not normal. So I think he found the sweet spot on that one.
You know what would be tough to do? Because like Andy Serkis as Alfred looks fucking awesome in this too. We should get really drunk and rank our Alfreds on one
There's
podcast.
been a lot of great Alfreds.
They've all been awesome, right? Even the
I was
guy,
gonna say, is there a bad Alfred?
even the guy in the Adam West Batman Alfred. I love that dude.
If we do another recreation of Batman, though, like Emperor Palpatine has to be Alfred, right? Is that like the next British actor that you got to get to be him?
God, we'd get so lucky. I don't even know if could the meme world handle that. Is what we
Probably
need.
not.
No.
No.
Ronnie Cycli couldn't handle. He could not handle. That's way too much power for him to have.
Ronnie Cycli was driving his car, listening to this. He had to pull over to cum his pants at the thought of Palpatine basically being Alfred. This movie comes out in March, right? Didn't get delayed.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Something to look forward
DC's
to.
got a big slate next year. Black Adam, Aquaman 2. There's another one I'm missing.
The Flash, dude.
Flash. Yeah, but fucking
The
Keaton.
Fandom trailer had Keaton's voice. It didn't show him, but it had his voice.
I fucking love it. None of it will make sense. None of it's connected. But if they make a good movie, who really cares?
Who gives a shit? And just when people are like, what do you just want fan service? Yes. Show me Keaton's Batmobile.
What? Like, why wouldn't you want fan service?
If I'm a fan, who's fan service for?
Right.
If not for me.
You know, it's just not Keaton though. They're gonna bring back. It probably won't be Nicholson, but someone. I could see Michelle Pfeiffer, Danny DeVito playing ball, and come back for like a scene.
Dude, Danny DeVito would do whatever I mean, he's game for whatever. If he's on It's Always Sunny, he'll come back as the Penguin. All right, Nate. Last shot. What do you got in your cup?
It's my turn.
Sorry, Geiger, did you have anything else? I just realized.
No.
Okay.
No.
I'll be respectful. Sorry, Nate.
All good. Well, I've been watching and finished this last week the cultural phenomenon that has popped on Netflix recently of Squid Game.
I want to see this so bad. I need to get around to it.
I've watched the first episode.
Sweet. Let me spoil it for you.
Matt, have you seen any of this?
They're all robots.
No.
Matt's not going to watch it.
Have you heard of it?
It's Korean.
No, he told me about it. I'm not reading that much.
You don't have to read it. You can listen to it.
Yeah.
It's dubbed over.
I remember
it's
one of
not
my
as
favorite
good
quotes.
if
We
you
were
dub
talking
it.
about Parasite, and we were like, yeah, it's all in subtitles. And Matt goes, so it's a book on tape. I'm like,
Yeah.
No, but okay. Sorry, Nate.
But Squid Game, I think it lives up to the hype. It's pretty great, really cool concept. The first episode is kind of weird because it doesn't really get into what the whole concept of the
I
the
have
game.
no fucking clue what I just watched after the first episode.
Oh yeah, 100%.
The only reason I'm continuing is because it's this cultural phenomenon.
Yeah. Really what got me to watch it is I started seeing so many memes online about it. I was like, well, either I'm not going to get these memes or I'm going to see these memes eventually and get spoiled, and then watching the show isn't going to be worth it.
Dude, it's crazy, but like that might honestly, okay, word of mouth from like one of you guys, or like you need to watch this to get 22% of the memes on Twitter. I'm like, fuck, where do I watch it at? Like that's my motivating factors now.
Yeah. And even like, it's tough to even explain or talk about the show even further. Like even no one who's seen it without spoiling stuff. But you can kind of describe it as an adult version of Hunger Games, but bloodier and more gory and more graphic. But really great. If you do watch it, I would suggest watching it with the Korean audio, but then English subtitles. Because I watched most of the series with it being dubbed over and the English subtitles. It kind of takes away because it's not the real actor's voice, and you can't get like the inflections and the intonation, the tone of their voice and things like that. It's kind of lost in the translation of dubbing over. So this is the way I watch Parasite too. I would suggest doing the Korean audio and then just reading the subtitles.
Yeah, that's what I did too.
Yep.
I did hear, this is not a negative, but just like for me starting it up, that the episodes are fairly long, right? Like most of them are an hour or close to an hour, 50 minutes.
Yeah, 50 minutes around is what they're going to be.
Okay.
Yep.
I got a couple other things couple other irons in the fire, so, but been meaning to get to this.
Always a lot going on.
Anything else?
That's it for now.
All right, I'll run through these real quick. I saw a Hulu movie called Plus One. It is a romantic comedy, came out in 2019, stars a few people where you're like, oh yeah, I've seen that guy in something, but you don't really know who they are. The main actor is a guy named Jack Quaid, son of Randy Quaid, the not psychotic Quaid.
He's in The Boys.
Yeah. Oh, he is. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which again, another thing I need to fucking watch. Plus One, guys, went into it. We, my wife and I had set up our projector in our front room with a very nice sound bar that the Thurmans got us. So thank you very much for that. As like our theater room. And I was like, sure, let's throw this on, whatever you want to watch it. Guys, this was a 5-star movie for me. I'm not kidding. Almost
Wow.
cracked my top 100. Absolutely blew me away. Not only is the lead character a chick named Maya Erskine, incredible in this. This to me is, I think the best way I can describe it, the most realistic humor that I've ever seen in a movie. Like the way these characters talk, it's all sort of stream of consciousness. It feels so real. There's at least 15 things they say that I'm like, that's exactly what my friends would say to me in this situation. And on top of that, it's a romantic comedy that like avoids somehow every cliche in the book. Like again, I've said this before. There's not like the dog running through the cake. There's not like I'm trying to think.
But
of
it's still funny.
I know.
Oh, life.
Classic. It's just great. I was maybe I give it 5 out of 5 on Letterboxd because I was just so surprised by it. But we were like literally bawling laughing on our couch. Like normally when we watch these movies, it's like slight chuckles. I was like fucking howling. So +1 on Hulu. You and especially if you can watch it with your significant other, you guys will be cracking up pretty much the whole time, I promise.
I'm in. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go give this a shot. I mean, after seeing Jack Quaid and The Boys, I think I've seen him in something else recently. I can't remember what it was, but
He's good.
I've been a fan of him. Well, he was in Logan Lucky. I saw that a while back.
Ugh, it wasn't a good movie though.
I didn't say it was a good movie. I said I saw it.
That's not what he said.
Yeah, that's it. I said I saw it and he was in it. End of story. But yeah, I think Jack Quaid will be coming around. Sweet, yeah. I like the looks of that one.
Definitely got a future. Boehner, how do you feel about delaying the end of What If till Nate's seen it and maybe we could all talk spoilers?
I like that.
Okay.
Cool. Let's do it.
Because there's one that I want to talk with Matt very briefly. Matt, have you seen on Netflix Untold: The Malice at the Palace?
Yeah.
Did you already talk about it on pod? I'm sorry. Maybe that's why I went to go watch it.
I think I did. I think so.
So
I watched that. I mean, weeks. I mean, it was 3 or 4 weeks ago, probably.
So I haven't seen any of the other Untolds. I know they're kind of like a loosely quote unquote a series, but they're not like connected at all, right? They're all just different sports.
They're just yeah, kind of like a 30 for 30 kind of. It's all different. The Malice at the Palace was really well done, and it was something that I totally forgot about how good that Pacers team was, and
yes,
I always wondered too when I saw it, I was like, where was Reggie Miller? Like he was on there and I forgot he was hurt.
I was like, he's normally the voice of reason.
Yeah, but it was very well done.
Honestly, I wish it was longer.
Yeah, it was really quick. It was about one game, but that rivalry was kind of 2 years long because they're both top of the East. And that's when the Pistons won their championship. But once again, man, there's a lot of people that, Dennis Rodman, Ron Artest, Kyrie Irving now, that people think they're like, man, they're nuts. And like, actually, these people have like some actual issues that, they kind of probably needed help working through instead of people just making fun of them and writing them off.
Well, it's kind of crazy how introspective Ron Artest is now. Like, he's like the most honest person you could ever interview.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I was fucking crazy. I needed a lot of help. People tried to help me, and I just said, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of refreshing to hear him talk like that now. And Jermaine O'Neal, and I don't blame him, but he's definitely still not over it.
Well, it really blurs the line on, when you're a fan, you pay money, so you can say almost whatever you want to an athlete. But man, once you get on the floor, man, that's their territory. And then don't bitch and sue when you get your ass fucking knocked out.
The dude who voted up to Jermaine O'Neal, if I'm Jermaine O'Neal, I don't know what the fuck this guy's gonna do.
Well, the guy you're yelling at is still 6'8", 230 of just solid muscle. So,
and could murder you on accident.
Right. So, I mean, as a fan, I've never really, I guess, got into like yelling at other players. I have fun when I go, but like, I'm like, I wouldn't go up to them at like a Kroger and call them a bitch.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't be smart.
I do think one thing that's really interesting to me, I think it's the district. Who was the guy that was tasked with like watching all of the security camera footage?
I don't remember, but I remember where the one guy kind of outed himself out.
Oh, dude, that guy was like doing radio interviews. Like, bottle.
The cops just went and got him, but yeah, it was really interesting, man.
The attorney that had to look at all the footage, even in the interview, was like, yeah, this was such a fucking stupid job. Like,
and what's interesting is how the media handled it. like calling them thugs and everything, like that would not fly today. That's almost a racial slur. Like, I mean, but they're like, they're just letting thug, and that actually had a lot to do with the new dress code, like that fight.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I was watching that game live, but I even remember at the time being like, I think I was a sophomore in high school. I was like, this is crazy. But in no way did I actually realize the magnitude of players running in the stands and punching fans at the time.
I always wonder who cares. Like whenever something like that really like turns around the NBA, I'm like, I watched it. I'm like, huh, that was crazy. And then I'm like, but I'm like, I'm not watching the NBA anymore. I've never met anyone like that, but they seem like, oh, everyone's up in arms about this. I'm like, I didn't care at all. Who cares?
Yeah, it was just a crazy moment in sports. And I do love how the opening of the documentary, they cut to like the main 4 people that are interviewed and they give them like, hey, you have 1 sentence to lead off the documentary. And Steven Jackson, do you remember what he chose to say?
No.
He's like, I'm not fucking talking about this anymore. All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right.
He like saw the checkbook open up. He's like,
none of these guys have money anymore. Like,
Exactly.
sure, whatever.
Steven Jackson scares me still.
They need to do one on AI and Larry Brown. That's one they need to do.
Oh, that'd be a really good one. And how crazy the Sixers owner was.
Yeah.
So Untold Malice at the Palace. This is on Netflix. I haven't seen any of the other ones, but check it out. Last thing I will mention very briefly, because Cycling and I just did a review on it. It's on Peacock, and that's Halloween Kills, the second entry in the new Halloween. It's a trilogy. Halloween Ends is the one that comes out next year. I don't want to spoil anything. I don't want to really dive too much into it because check out our review. Cycling has some really interesting thoughts on this film. I'll just say this. Very good, in my opinion. Some of the best kills Michael Myers has ever had, if not the best. Story-wise, not as interesting as the one that came out in 2018, which had the cool take of like, what if podcasters tried to, take advantage of Michael Myers and he goes back to Haddonfield. But I will say this, a really interesting take on if the people of Haddonfield finally decided to fight back, like what that would look like and some of the dynamics that come with it and like the way that their fear in Michael Myers manifests is interesting. And Matt, you'll like this. As a fan of the original, they actually get several of the kid actors from the first one to come back. Like 2 of the kids that were being babysat in the original movie are in this film as adults.
Yeah, they said they brought back a couple people too from a movie that's not even fucking canon. I read that.
Although the one thing, Matt, you won't like is the prologue to this movie, or like the first 6 minutes. Their sole purpose is to retcon Halloween 2, take it out of the equation. But we kind of knew that was coming, right?
The original Halloween 2?
Yeah, the one where she's in the hospital.
I know that's not canon because they're not brother and sister in this.
Right. Which I know you like as a film, so it's
it is a really good one. But
and Cycling and I talk about like, is it bullshit that they do these like sequel reboots and can do this to the films that came out and some of that are even good
that are classics? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and Cycling has a very strong opinion on it, worth listening to.
Let's just redo Shawshank Redemption. He didn't,
God, Nate's rolling over in his grave.
Oh, I'm dead now?
Wow.
That's what Charles Barkley
politically
says.
sensitive.
Larry Bird's rolling over in his grave. He's alive, Chuck. I don't know what you're talking about. All right, anything else? We're ready to move on to the last part of our show. And that parrot noise brings us to the question answer segment of our show. Do you
What are
even
we gonna
live?
do when I'm 80 years old and I can't do that anymore?
What we're gonna have to do when your voice starts to give out, we'll just have to record it, and then we'll have
record it.
it as a drop. Yeah, or your daughter can come in and do it.
That'd be cool.
The passing of the torch. No, Banner's like, I know that's my thing. Sorry, babe. I love you, but you can take all my money in the will, but you can't take a do you for the lift, bra.
It's the only thing.
All right, so dating back to episode 160 and our 5-year anniversary as a podcast, check the link in the show notes because we are continuing our countdown of each of our top 100 movies of all time. Not the best movies we've ever seen, but our own personally curated list of our favorite 100 films. And boy, is it a fun journey. So I'm way ahead of everyone else. So Tonight, Nate will count down just on a high level. Looks like his next 4. We'll let Geiger do his next 2, and Banner's going to do 1 more. So, Thurman, not to put you on the spot, but you're at your number 95, and you can do a couple in a row till you get fatigued. What is your number 95 favorite movie of all time? Just as a recap, your past 3 at number 98, we had 1917, directed by Sam Mendes. Number 97, you had Joker, directed by Todd Phillips. And I don't know off the top of my head the director of your number 96, but it was Book of Eli.
No one does, but it was still a good film, so I
Tom
don't care.
Johnson.
Tom Millerson.
So your number 95 is where we're at.
95. We're coming in with a 1986 classic with 3 powerhouse comedians. That one of we've already talked. Actually, no, 2 we've already talked about.
Oh yeah,
The Three Amigos.
The Three Amigos.
Man, what a great comedy of that time with, like I said, 3 powerhouse in their prime. Chevy Chase coming off some big movies. Steve Martin coming off The Jerk and really getting into. Coming off. I know he was like big into stand up before that. But it was just a really funny movie. Watched it a ton. Huge slapstick shit, and kind of like what Banner was saying earlier, a ton of physical comedy, which Chevy Chase is really good at. And I love Dusty Bottoms. Chevy Chase's character plays just like a stupid idiot the whole time, but really lovable character. It's just 3 guys playing off each other the whole time, and the whole premise is really funny. These guys just thinking that they're out shooting a movie, and
It's kind of like Tropic
they get
Thunder.
into the
It's
real shit.
a lot like Tropic
Yes.
Thunder, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a good analogy to that. But I mean, a ton of great liners from this. Oh, there's a mail plane. How do you know? Don't you see its balls? Just real subtle ones like that. But I'm
It's
gonna
like
have to
Mel
go.
Brooks adjacent. Kind
Yeah,
of.
go watch this. I'm gonna have to go watch this
All
again.
Saturday Night Live alums.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Saturday Night Live alums.
Almost.
Yeah, almost had it. And then the writers on this, Steve Martin, obviously starred in as well, Lorne Michaels and Randy Newman. So I mean,
Wow.
you've got
Randy Newman wrote comedy?
I guess so. But yeah, another SNL tie-in with Lorne Michaels. But kind of underrated one. I mean, most people know about it. I don't know how obviously not like critically acclaimed. But I mean, super funny. Like I said, 3 juggernauts in their prime in the 80s, and has stuck with me forever, and always a great film to go back and watch.
You know what would be a fun / blasphemous pod at some point would be to recast a reboot of The Three Amigos.
Ooh, I don't know.
I don't know about that.
It'd be fun to do. Geiger, you have
Yeah.
to love this, right? This is like right in your era
Yeah.
of
It's good.
comedy.
I love Chevy Chase. I like Martin Short a lot better than you guys. And Steve Martin, I would say, I almost categorize him as Robin Williams or Eddie Murphy, where he only had about 2 or 3 really good comedies, which he should have had like 25. But I don't know, with his agent, they just started to have Eddie Murphy, Steve Martin, and Robin Williams start doing just like family stuff a lot.
Mhm.
And I don't get why. I mean, Cheaper by the Dozen, and
Ugh.
what's the one? My daughter's wedding or whatever he fucking did.
Follow
Uh,
the Bride.
Father the Bride.
Father
Yeah.
the Bride, which I'm
Yeah,
like,
something like
he's not
that.
even. But I mean, he had this. He had Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I think he had another one. I can't remember. Oh, The Jerk.
The Jerk.
Yeah.
He hates these cans. Stay away from the cans.
But
I
Steve
was
Martin's
full-
really good, dude.
I was born a poor black child.
That's fine. Oh God, good stuff. And yeah, you got the Western aspect too, so that's always that's a big draw for me. So, Three Amigos coming in at 95.
Nice. Which
and
is
so
94.
Yeah, I'll keep going and go on down to 94. So, 94, a little bit more recent one. 2014, Jean Favreau as I like to call him.
You do?
When we're hanging out on the
Starting
weekends.
now.
Yeah, starting now. Jean, Sofia Vergara, Chef.
Oh, so good.
So good. Such a great film.
Makes me want a Nate Thurman cooked Cuban as well.
And this is kind of, I don't say I would have an obsession with Cubans, but I've been known to make some small Hawaiian bread Cuban style sandwiches that are baked
So
in the
good.
oven. That many people on the pod have tried
So
it at
good.
get-togethers. But yeah, very good. It's got your classic father-son bad dynamic. It also has your classic overweight husband with the smoking hot ex-wife or current wife. But
You're like, what are
ex-wife
you,
in
an
this
early
situation.
2000s sitcom? Like, what,
Yeah, like what is this, King of Queens? I don't know what's going on right now.
according to Jim?
Yes, I mean the list goes on and on. And just me myself, I love to cook in my own house. If getting into a restaurant or the food industry wasn't such a tough venture, I would love to try that. But just being a home cook myself and loving to cook, seeing them like in the restaurant doing all these things and improvising and doing all that shit, it's really cool. And then
Nate, I'm not even saying this because we're on pod. If you ever wanted to start up a food truck, I would be a benefactor.
I would
Support
definitely
that.
invest in that.
well, I appreciate that, guys. Well, yeah, maybe down the road if something doesn't pan out.
I just don't think we get enough movies about. Then this is such a hyper specific thing to even say. I feel like, but
Bro
like,
Fork Squad, man.
there we go. But like about food trucks, I think it's just like an interesting concept of like your business and your livelihood is like essentially on wheels, but you have such a good skill that you can still make it work, you know?
Yeah, and this came out like 2014. I would say that's kind of when food trucks started getting popular. You started seeing them pop up in the LA area. And now legitimately like this movie, like he was a chef at like a whatever 3-star restaurant or whatever it is. And he obviously has a disagreement with the owner, and then he decides to open up his own food truck. But that's like actually happening now. Like classically trained chefs, people who went to culinary school and things like that, are opening up these food trucks. They're being profitable. So it was kind of a cool time for this to pop up, kind of a reflection on things happening in real life. But like I said, it's just a great movie. You see the bonding with the dad and the son, which is great. They're bonding through food. And whenever he opens up and gives him his own chef knife and really talks about it, explains it and says, hey, this is your chef knife. This is yours. Take care of it. Gives him that responsibility and really gets that connection with him and his son. It is a really cool moment in the movie too. But there's a lot to this movie.
John Leguizamo was awesome as his best friend too.
Yes, great sidekick.
Like maybe one of my favorite, if not my favorite role of his.
Yeah, great sidekick. And then there's a small cameo of
Iron Man.
Robert Downey Jr., who plays a weird character for his short time on the screen in this movie.
Like a rich dude who he's like, I really don't want to ask you for money, but you're very rich. So.
Yeah. But really great food movie. A lot to it. Comes in at 94 for Thurman.
I do one more for us. Number 93.
I'll do one.
He's gonna do one.
One more.
Fill that up again.
All right. One more popping into the mid 90s. One that was pretty star-studded. Got some great speeches out of it. We're talking about the 1996 blockbuster movie Independence Day. I mean, this holds a special place in my heart. There are some cheesy, corny parts in it, but it is just a great mid-90s action movie about aliens. I mean, I don't know what more you want from this.
If that doesn't belong on the back of the VHS, I don't know what does.
No. You got Will Smith, you got Jeff Goldblum, you got Bill Pullman, you got Randy Quaid before he went into this insane asylum.
Although his character is kind of already there, which is great.
It's kind of a reflection, a caricature of himself. But just I think the time this came out, and honestly, I love Will Smith at that time. Willennium, Big Willie style, had those CDs. I saw him in a movie. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna watch this. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Dude,
He's
was
like an
anyone
icon.
more bakeable in the early to mid '90s than Will Smith?
No,
You could
he's
put him
an
in a fucking
icon at that
tampon
time.
commercial. I'd buy 3D tickets to it.
He had to have had one of the number one movies and number one songs at the same time. Other than Elvis, I couldn't name you one other fucking person that would have happened to.
No.
Oh yeah.
Maybe Eminem did it with 8
Eminem?
Mile. Maybe.
Oh, that's a good
Yeah.
call. Yeah.
Ooh, shit. Wow, good one.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, I
a
don't know
good
about
call.
the movie, but Lose
I don't know about
Yourself
the
was
movie.
definitely number one.
Yeah.
But no, countless times I've seen this one. I don't even know. And then you just get the most famous 4th of July world destruction, world ending speech by Bill Pullman. We will not go quietly into that. Oh my, like you can call it corny, cheesy, whatever you want. It'll send chills down my spine, like just like getting in the moment of that and like delivering that speech from the president. I mean, it's a pretty powerful moment. Pretty powerful moment.
It's like Roland Emmerich for the rest of his career has been trying to recapture the magic he had there. And it's sad to watch, but let's just appreciate it for what it actually executed at the time.
Lightning in a bottle, but it's what we needed right then.
Absolutely.
And like I said, it was one of the movies of my childhood, I'd have to say. One of the cornerstones.
I probably watched that like once every 3 months as a kid, to be honest.
Yeah, countless numbers of time. And going as we've gone through the top 100, it's good because it's bringing up memories, and I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch all these. But I know they all hold a special place in my heart anyway.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. All right, Geiger, what's your number 92 movie of all time in the history of your life?
I don't even want to read this plot synopsis because after everything we talked about in this pod, a bunch of people are going to roll their eyes. But at least this is back in like 90, I think it's 93, and that is Clint's The Unforgiven. Gene Hackman, who else? Sorry, Morgan Freeman. Great Western. And of course, Clint, retired outlaw, but he's not about that life anymore, guys. He's old now. He has a farm. Doesn't want, you can come and ask, but I'm not going to go down there and fucking take care of anything. And then Gene Hackman, talk about someone who, where the fuck are they? I mean, such a great actor. And maybe he's retired. Bill Pullman's another one. Like, where's he at? I'm surprised he's not in movies anymore. But Hackman, dude, was so good in this as the villain. And then, of course, Clint takes up arms later, gets his boy Morgan Freeman, then comes to town. And it's a very good Western. I would say with Clint, it fits him because in the 90s, I don't know, maybe he's like high 70s. So it fits that he could still kick ass other than his movies now where you're like, come on, dude. Like, you can't play like the badass anymore. Like, this just doesn't work. But in this time frame of him, very well. And I'm not a big Clint Eastwood Western fan, really. Outlaw Josie Wells is okay. Fistful of Dollars is good. Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is okay. But, I mean, I'm a bigger John Wayne fan. But this movie is very well done.
Yeah. This, just a tie into my life. This is the father-in-law's favorite Western, as he says. But, I mean, when Clint Eastwood goes just scorched earth at the end, it's fantastic.
Is this related to the Metallica song at all?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Unrelated.
I will say that that's one of the reasons it's rated so low on my list is that basically this whole movie is just a build up to the end.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I know Clint's gonna go. When's he gonna go? When's he finally gonna? Then you see it like, okay, awesome. Okay, we can leave now. So the story was,
it's good you leave then because that's the end of the movie.
Yeah, it's very.
I'm not gonna stay anymore.
I would say to take you there, Gene Hackman's performance will take you there. As a Western, it is very well, but I bet I have 10 other Westerns on my list that I rank higher than this. However, it is a very good movie.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Unforgiven, 1992. Geiger, why don't you do one more, and that'll get you pretty much even with the rest of.
All right, man, and this is another one.
91.
I love boxing movies. Coming in at 91. I think Christian Bale's best performance ever, and that is The Fighter.
Let's go.
Fucking great movie. Amy Adams. Wahlberg is great in this. He got in tremendous shape. and he's like the fourth person you talk about in acting,
Mhm.
which is phenomenal. And kudos to him because I don't even know what it was back then, maybe just YouTube, but I follow him a lot. I love him on Instagram. But if you ever look at interviews, he strived for this movie for like 10 years to try to get this made about Mickey Ward and they don't even touch on his fights with Gotti in this, which is really interesting. It's just basically kind of him like kind of getting his career back on track. But this movie is fucking fantastic. And I would consider it as a straight boxing movie. I think it's better than Creed, but as a movie, it's not, and that's why you'll probably see Creed come up later in my list. But this movie is fucking fantastic, and Christian Bale just fucking murders it as the guy that knocked Sugar Ray down, but Sugar Ray's like, dude, I slipped, and he just can't fight his battles, and of course Bale's like, okay, so I just have to be 95 pounds during this. All right, fine, I'll do it.
He's used to it.
Fantastic movie.
So David O. Russell, who directed this, I had never really looked at his filmography. Dude's kind of a fucking beast. He did Three Kings with Wahlberg. That's
Wow,
probably
I love that movie.
Yeah, super underrated film. Silver Linings Playbook, American Hustle.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, dude's got a really
He's on Jennifer Lawrence's dick.
yes.
Well, metaphorically.
Yeah, and I don't get what he sees in her.
He did. I
Okay.
don't think I've seen this, but Joy, which she is also.
Oh
in.
yeah, she's also in that.
Oh, and Bradley Cooper's in it, of course.
Yeah, this one was right. This was like why Christian Bale gets made fun of, outside of Vice, obviously, for like he won't take a role unless he has to either drastically increase his weight or decrease it, because he went from The Dark Knight in 08 to this in 10 to The Dark Knight Rises in 12 to when did Vice come out?
They also did The
Yeah.
Machinist.
Yeah, Vice was 2018, so I guess 6 years after that, The Dark Knight Rises, but still.
This movie's so good though, especially if the mom is just talking about Christian Bale's comeback. Like he's gonna come back to the ring. I remember Wahlberg's just like, he's got 25 teeth in his head. None of them are even his. He ain't fucking coming back to the ring. like it ain't happening. And Wahlberg's so Marky Mark in this, like but it's fine because he's playing Mickey Ward. So it's a really good fucking movie.
Yeah, this is
The boxing in it holds up. Like it's not Southpaw where the guy's just like, dude, just hit me in the face 25 times and I'll bleed. And it's actually realistic boxing.
Yeah, I hate in movies when they just like wear punches. Like that's not how a boxing match goes.
That's Rocky's thing. I'll just take every jab right to my face.
You can block your face, right? It's not illegal. All right, Banner, just to get you the ball real quick, give us your number 90 movie of all time. That's where you're at. And just for context for the people at home, your number 91 was Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
I wasn't on for that one, but that's one of my favorite Harry Potter's, Banner.
Yeah, it's when all the shit gets going.
It's a good one. All right, continue. Sorry.
All right, so number, what is this, 90?
90, yeah.
Number 90. This one is actually the first Marvel comic that was developed and released by Disney once they owned Marvel, which was Big Hero 6.
Ooh, yeah.
All right.
Very emotional movie.
Very emotional movie. Surprisingly not Pixar. It is Disney animation. Just you would think with the emotional element it would be, but it's not. It's just a good movie. It's a fun movie. It has all those emotional beats. It deals kind of with time travel. Like it has everything you want in a superhero movie.
And I have to say, I was not, when I first watched this, I host a movie club at the school that I teach at. And every Wednesday we continue picking up from the movie from last week. And the kids were like, yeah, let's watch Big Hero 6. It's on Disney+. I did not expect to end up crying and kind of lost some credibility with the kids, got to be honest.
I don't blame you for that. I watched this probably year and a half, 2 years ago. Hadn't seen it. And really impressed. Going into it, I was not looking for much, and then it had a lot of depth into it with the brother relationship, and then the relationship that you get with the robot.
Wait, you're telling me if I told you that a movie takes place in the city of San Fran, Tokyo, you're not going to get excited about that?
I mean, I knew I was probably going to be entertained, but yeah, really, really surprised coming out of this one. So I can see how it breaks your top 100. Really good voice cast too, as well. A lot of good people in there.
Oh yeah.
Another thing one thing that I really, really like about this is you understand where the villain is coming from. You're like, I mean, you're not wrong, but how you're going about it isn't probably the best way.
Yeah, you're just insane.
Yeah.
That's sort of the one thing working against you. Also, you put anyone in a kabuki mask and you have a good villain.
Naturally.
That's true.
It's just such a cool fucking look. Like, it looks like the Three Ninjas, which no, they're not in my top 100. I'm not even gonna pretend to keep.
Okay.
Like maybe they'll pop up again. No, they won't.
No.
Spoiler, it's number 1.
Higher than that. All right, Beer Hero 6, number 90 on Brian Banner's list. Let's let Nate do 2 more, and then I guess we can call it a night, right? Nate, what's your number 92, and then your number 91?
Okay, hold on. I know what. Okay, I just had to remember what my 91 was. I knew what my 92. 92, actually kind of random that it's the same year as the previous one, 1996. This has a lot of where I grew up ties. This is the 1996 Devastation classic of Twister.
I was gonna say I know where this is going.
Yeah,
The
man.
cow flying through the air. That's the iconic shot.
And it's kind of funny that these were back to back because growing up, these were, I think, probably 2 of my dad's 2 favorite films to watch, which had to do with just world destruction, basically. And Twister was a little more pointed, just the Oklahoma area, which has a close part to my heart. Most of us grew up around that area, so
God,
this
look
was
at
like
this cast. Philip Seymour Hoffman.
yeah. You have Helen Hunt, you've got Bill Paxton.
Who played
Philip
the Twister?
Seymour, who play? I think that was Audrey Hepburn.
Okay.
Yeah, the late great Audrey Hepburn. But Philip Seymour Hoffman is, I mean, he's kind of just like a secondary cast, but what he's known for, this is just a off the cuff kind of funny character that he plays in this, and he had some nice color to the film. But growing up in Tornado Alley, this kind of hit home. You would go out on your front porch. Oh, there's a storm coming. We're going to go out and see if we can see the tornado outside, which probably hindsight isn't the smartest thing, but it was cool seeing like a job revolved around tornadoes and storm chasing. And there's a little bit of a scientific aspect to it too. They get Dorothy 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, or however many it is, trying to get them up into the tornado to get some meteorological data. But it's just a really good mix.
And all they needed was a fucking Pepsi can.
The Pepsi can. They finally figured it out. The windmill.
That's all they
Thanks.
needed.
Forgot Alan Ruck, who plays Cameron in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, is in this. And then Carrie Elwes from The Princess Bride, Saw,
Classic.
and Robin Hood, Prince in Tights or whatever. He's in this too. Like this fucking.
He's the antagonist. He's the dickhead in this one that you have to hate.
God,
In most other movies, I like him. But yeah, really good mix of a good cast in here. But then the reason it pops into my top 100, I think it's a great movie, real fun. But then the tie-in of like, oh, you hear like cities like near where you grew up and stuff, and like, oh, they're going over here and all this kind of shit.
It's relatable.
But another one, just like Independence Day, right before it. Watched this a ton growing up, just the time it came out. It really close to home, and it was a lot of good thriller back in the 90s.
I was gonna say part of this list is just like what embodies a decade, and nothing is more 90s than Twister and Independence Day.
No.
93 and 92.
In the 90s. I mean,
Yeah.
Nailed it.
All right, Nate, close us out with your number 91 movie of all time in the history of the universe ever.
Here we go. This is kind of kismet because Geiger mentioned his name earlier, but we're going with the 1969 Nice classic, which was rebooted later on. True Grit with John Wayne, Glenn Campbell, and Kim Darby.
Wow. So 69 one made your list. Will the, what was it, 04 one make it?
Who knows? We'll
2010. Haley Steinfeld.
see. We'll see. But no, this is a classic John Wayne one. Some of John Wayne's other westerns like McClintock and some others are kind of more like slapsticky comedy. This one's more of a kind of a true gritty western. But got some like it's got some heavyweights in it himself, and then obviously Glenn Campbell in it, and Robert Duvall is in it as Ned Pepper. So you've got some really
Dennis
good,
Hopper too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dennis Hopper. You have some good true like western actors in it. And yeah, Rooster Cogburn's just a great character, and there's a reason that they rebooted it because the original was so great. It has one of my favorite. I mean, growing up, my dad was a huge John Wayne fan, so I saw a ton of those. Has one of my favorite lines in there, and actually have a whiskey tumbler with this phrase on it. It's "Fill your hands, you son of a bitch." He throws the reins in his mouth, grabs a rifle in one hand, a 6-shooter in the other, and starts riding at like 4 guys and starts taking them down. That's one of my favorite scenes in a western, just in and of itself. But if you haven't seen the original True Grit, go watch it. I'm actually seeing it's rated G. I don't know if that's accurate.
I gotta say the MPA must have been fucked. Like,
They didn't know what they were doing back then.
Different time.
Well, I'm pretty sure Young Frankenstein is like rated R.
And back
Really?
then, kids could work in the factory, so why can't they go watch a film?
That's true. But OG True Grit coming in at 91. Great all-time western in my opinion.
Glenn Campbell in this too. You might
Yeah.
have mentioned him. Sorry.
Yeah, it's got
It's
some-
fantastic, and it's probably like there's probably 4 other John Wayne westerns I like in front of True Grit, which is weird because I love True Grit. There's just I really like John Wayne westerns. I don't know. I grew up with them, and the Clint ones are really hard for me to watch. I'd have to be in a specific mood, but John Wayne, there was a stint in my life where I'd grill a steak, drink a beer, and watch a John Wayne western on like a Friday, Saturday night.
I mean, that's the manliest thing that's ever.
It's like it's awesome. John Wayne westerns, you can get in 40 minutes in and not know what's going on and still have fun watching it. Clint Eastwood's like you got to pay attention, and they're like I don't know. Some of them are kind of weird to me, but you can't go wrong with John Wayne.
Yep. It's a classic one right there.
It's good too when you guys do movies like this because it legitimizes our top 100 lists. Like I can do Ninja Turtles 2: Secret of the Ooze at number 90, and you can do True Grit at number 91. You know, it's like
The 69 version. I didn't like the remake at all.
It was okay, but yeah.
And now, Matt, I'm not saying that it's totally unjustified at all because I will not fight for the new True Grit, but you also hate Matt Damon. The burning.
Yeah, but
Matt Damon.
I love Jeff Bridges though.
That's true.
But there's certain like cartoony stuff to John Wayne westerns that I don't know, you just can't redo. And they tried to make it real and it was cool, but I don't know.
Yeah, but you're not John Wayne, dude.
Didn't work out. Sorry about you.
That's fair.
That wraps it up
All
for
right.
me.
Guys, thanks for joining us tonight for episode 164 of the Bro Force Squad podcast. I am the mayor, Jeff Hornacek. Closing thoughts from our crew. We'll start in the paint. Matt Geiger, what do you want to leave the people with?
Just remember to freeze your eggs because you never know.
Yeah. Not the ones you're going to eat, but like the reproduction ones.
Yeah.
Who freezes food eggs? That's just weird. In the lab, the mad scientist, Brian Banner. Banner, what do you want to part the people with?
Just as always, pull over for emergency vehicles, guys. It's
Now
important.
more than ever. I don't know what that means. Just
It's
do it.
just it's so important. Okay.
But yeah, it shouldn't be a like now thing. It should just be like an always thing, you know?
Yeah.
Nate Thurman, the American hero.
You never know who's in the back of that ambulance. Or whose house is on fire. Could be
someone's
yours.
daughter is yeah.
That's someone's daughter.
Your cat might be stuck up in that tree. You never know.
An
Fuck
ambulance
yeah.
is coming for it.
Yes,
Oh.
Nate, there's not a lot going on in this town.
Yeah.
Probably.
Fair enough.
They're cutting public funding. Okay.
Nate, and what are we leaving them with? What's your this was a school of middle school children, what would you say to them?
Well, on the subject of ambulances, ambulance in German is Krankenwagen, which means suffer car.
Jesus Christ.
Are you
Sounds like a-
kidding me?
No, that's
Sounds
not
like
a joke.
That sounds like a beer.
That's not a joke.
Sounds like the
100%
car that
correct.
drove me to my high school prom.
Rockenberg IPA.
Yeah, suffer car.
Suffer car. I mean, it's not wrong. Like, no one gets in it as like a joyride.
Nope.
Yes. All right. Well, on that depressing note, we've been the Bro Force Squad podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Bro Force Squad. Find us on Letterboxd. If you type in Bro Force Squad, it's 3 words. Put those same 3 words into Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. You will find us, or you can go to our website. Actually, and you can go to our website, proforcesquad.com. All of our content's there, and our squad blog with the updated top 100 movie list of all time that all of us have. Till next time, we'll catch you on Netflix. Just do that group watch thing, and we'll ignore it as a move of power. Totally helpful.
Bye.